Hi, John Marshall, the DrillMaster. This is, I don't know the school. I had a message sent to me on Instagram a few days ago, and I said, yep, no problem. I will take care of it. I'll get to this. The video was on G Drive, and I was able to download it because playing from G Drive just doesn't work with my connection. So I've been trying to play around with this thing. It's absolutely been well worth it, honestly, because the performance is great. So let's get into this. So this is Exhibition Drill, obviously a Navy NJROTC drill team. But I am really sorry, I do not know the school. The message was sent to me a little while ago, and then I've received so many messages since then. The original message got buried, and I apologize. I really apologize. However, let's go. You can see I have a nice big cursor now. Learned how to do that. Let's go and ahead and get this video critiqued. All right. So starting off, we can look for inconsistencies, and but this is poor technique right here. So, Commander, you need to not have that wrist cranked so much. You need to relax that wrist. It really should be as relaxed as possible. Remember, attention and order are relaxed positions. They're not rest positions, but they're relaxed positions. You shouldn't have tension in your body. And by keeping your wrist like this, you increase the risk of of cutting off blood supply and also nerves, and get that feeling in your hand, the tinglies when your hand goes to sleep. So trying to manipulate the rifle when your hand is asleep after you've been standing at attention for a little while, that's going to be a little bit difficult. So we want to try and avoid that, and that's why we need that technique to be a more neutral wrist. All right, here we go. So you've received the signal from the head judge, and then you look at the team to give the command. And actually, you give a monotone command, attention, hut. Probably it sounded like you said ten hut. Hut is not used in any of the branches except for the Air Force. Tench hut is used in the Air Force. Yours would be attention. So that you need to have that inflection in your voice. All right, here we have some uniformity of technique issues. So you have a really, really big angle here. Your arm is well behind the rifle right here. Same thing, angled in there. It shouldn't be. Looks like actually his fingers are in front of the rifle, either flared out or bending around. I don't know, either one. We have this young lady here with a bent wrist, but also separated fingers. Now, that could be a physical issue. One thing I love about JROTC is that all kinds of cadets with all kinds of abilities can join. All kinds of students can join and become cadets, and that's great. I've known cadets with missing limbs, and I've known cadets in wheelchairs. It's just an awesome opportunity. It really is, and I love that. So it's quite possible this is a physical difference that she has. So I'm just making you aware. All right, but here we have a huge difference. Now notice that the hand looks like this. All right, the pinky is pointing out to the cadet's right and not brought back around like this. This is the proper technique here, although I still think there's too much of an angle there, but this is much better, much more relaxed position. But this is not an acceptable position. All of the fingers need to be up against, touching the rifle at some point. Now, not all of the fingers are going to completely touch the rifle all the time while you're at order. but having the pinky out, almost, I guess it's slightly angled here, but almost facing forward, that's not proper at all. And then I know, yeah, you can barely see it right here. This is the toe of the rifle, and this is the toe of her right foot. So all three toes aligned. You're using the position of tension, and if you wanted all of the rifles back behind the toes of the shoes, then fine, no problem. Then they all should be. But it doesn't look like they all are. So uniformity of technique. You don't necessarily have to use the regulation drill, Marine Corps order techniques and absolute standards there, but you need to be at least uniform throughout the platoon. So don't look at the platoon when you're giving commands. Now here, still separated fingers, kind of a strange grip here, but nice grip here. Brought the rifle up and wrapped those fingers around the upper handguard there. That's great. And everybody seems to be about the same height there with the left hand coming across. That's great. Really good. This is nice and solid. Really nice and solid grip. This doesn't show nice solid grip. This barely shows a solid grip. So again, uniformity of technique is what you want. So on that first step forward, look how big and small those steps were to create poor alignment. So you take whatever step you want to take forward, however large you want to make it. This is regulation drill, or I'm sorry, exhibition drill. So for this sequence, however large a step you want, great. Uniform. Everything uniform. You still need to maintain that alignment in to the front and then to the side, and you need to maintain it so that you have a much more effective routine. You're communicating with your audience much more effectively. This actually this causes confusion in your audience. Lack of uniformity for different aspects causes confusion in the communication. Now, I don't mean that people are out there in the audience going, gee, I wonder why they did that. I'm not talking about that kind of confusion. It's just you want to be clear in your communication. Right now, I'm talking a lot, and I can do that. I can do that quite well. Just ask my wife. I'm trying to be as clear in my communication as possible. Sometimes I can't do that just by talking, so I use the visual for my communication. Here you're communicating purely through the visual in this aspect, but also sound with the commands and the butt slams, and also the hand slaps for the on the rifle. So there is a sound aspect to the an audio aspect to the performance. Slight timing issue there on the spin, but I really appreciate that. This young lady's left foot is in front of her right, but everybody else seems to be, almost everybody else seems to be on the same line. We have a nice wide stance here, though. Very, very different from here, and also very different from the commander as well. So you need to make sure that, again, uniformity of technique. All the rifles are at waist level, which is good. That's quite uniform. You also want to make sure that head angles are the same. So there's also there now. If you look at this, and I know I always stop and talk. If you watch the marching forward, you'll see that there's some slap step, and also a toe first step, and then also a heel strike step. So you got to choose one. And if you want to change it up throughout the routine, fine, that's great. But just in this opening sequence, and actually I love the opening sequence, by the way. This is a really effective way to present the team onto the drill area. It really works very well. Simple rifle moves, but they are used effectively and layered over the marching. It works very well. So I can tell there's a lot of practice that's gone into this. Some good thought also has gone into this. But as the team is marching in, watch the feet. You can see that the three closest to the camera, they're going to step off with a heel strike, and yet the three that are marching forward first, a couple of them at least are using a toe strike as they're moving. So again, communication with your audience. What are you trying to do here? What's the effect that you're trying to create as the team marches forward? Now watch toe strikes over here. See, toe, 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 and a couple of slap steps. Now, he stepped off a little late, but recovered well. Simple rifle moves, but really nice, and it was short on the repetitiveness, so it was very quick and it ended now. That's great. However, and I was trying to record this before, and I got up to just at the report in and realized that my camera had frozen. All kinds of screwy things are going on, but here now, I'm going to back this up just a little bit and let this play through. Here, facing, okay, great, nothing. Why nothing? Why did you stop? Why did you stop? Why did you have to have forward march called? You didn't. And so you built this momentum up, and this is great. The audience is going, oh yeah, this is cool. This is awesome. This is fantastic. And then stop? Really? And then forward march. And now the sequence that you create to build into the report in sequence, or the report in, is really good. It's really good, and it could have been so much better entering and pushing forward into the wedges that you create there. It would have been just fantastic. But you pause. All right, let's watch it. So spin to right shoulder, a nice toss there on the side. So a couple of timing issues and also some technique issues. Oh, I paused it. Okay. So here, timing, her rifle spinning is behind the other kneelers. And then, so she is late coming down to the knee. Just slightly late. But I love... No wonder everybody's screaming out. That's just fantastic. It really works well. Now look here. To have the best Queen Anne kneeling position, you need to have both knees with a 45-degree angle. We don't have 45-degree angles in many of the kneelers here, but the commander has that 45-degree angle. So again, a little bit of a timing and technique issue here. Good, you stopped on your own. That's awesome. All right, a little bit of a, oh, you hook the rifles together. That stinks. Now, why did you, Commander, why did you do the 2 butt slams? Was it necessary? Does it add to the performance? Or is it just something that you're doing? Is it really necessary? I know that your butt slams are signals. I get that. I understand that. You aren't even if you didn't call any commands, you aren't a silent drill team because of the signals. The signals are still there. Butt slams are still commands. They're still signals. So and I get it that learning an entire routine without any signals whatsoever is really difficult and very time consuming. Although the end result sometimes can be absolutely fantastic. But was a butt slam actually necessary there for you coming through? Maybe not. Maybe as you stepped off, you could have that first step could have been the signal, and then everybody takes their signal from the set of cadets who are to the front. I'll say that. Also, I want to say this is the perfect way to align and set up your cordon. This, when you have two lines of people facing each other, it's called a cordon. A lot of NJROTCs call it honor guard, and I get why they do that, but it's not. It's a cordon, and this cordon setup that you did collapsing from the two wedges that you had, very well designed, really good flow of movement here. Now, at first, the flow of movement was interrupted because of that pause, but so far, nice flow of movement here. It works very well. So I'm giving you overall effect, and see you walked through here. Now, okay, 2 stomps definitely not necessary. And the how should I put this? The overly aggressive foot stomp also is not necessary. You can still stop in a professional way and bring those heels together to make a nice sound. You can signal some other way, but even just a single sound, and I don't know why is the double foot slam, the double butt slam, I don't know why that came about as a signal. Single taps are fine, and they'll communicate much more effectively for your audience. Just that single stop would have been just fine. Nice rotation, and you kept your alignment, which I really appreciate. Oh, that's... wow! Now, mark time height is inconsistent throughout the team, but so I was telling you, I'm giving you some overall effect, and now composition analysis. I'm bringing in here, and then also equipment and movement analysis as well. But that was fantastic. I loved that. So the rotation of the cordon was great, and that could have been a disaster, but you practiced it, and that was really good, very effective. And then to break it off, to form the team back up into the squads again, that's just, again, flowing really well. Nice pass through there. So now here's one thing that you need to understand. The Perform 2 side. All right, so as we're looking at the video, the Perform 2 side is to the video's right, my right, where the head judge is. So performing this move, this pass-through right here, isn't effective at all when your audience is at the Perform 2, the stage side. So think of where the camera is as stage right as you're facing the head judge. This is stage right over here where the camera is. The far wall there is stage left, and then your audience should be at the front there. Now, obviously, everybody's roped off here with the caution tape, and they're to the stage right. However, you really need to consider what the move looks like for your intended audience, and your intended audience needs to be at the front where that head judge is. Oh, okay. Now, so you have created this high level of performance all the way through, coming in, pushing forward, moving into the double wedge, the report in, the layered visual effect of kneeling and standing, and then you move into the cordon, you rotate the cordon, you push back into the four squads. The pass through could have happened both ways in order to then be effective. I think that you might want to look at that. Have the pass through happen one way, have the pass through happen another way, so that you can have the sides and the front and back of for the audience. Wherever you go, you have audience in different directions, usually at a drill meet. So you could do that really effectively. But then, just to march at port, just to execute a flank, still at port, when you marched forward and you did the spin to right shoulder, you had the toss in the air while marching. And so, oh wow, this is fantastic. High level of performance. This is really advanced stuff. And now you're back down to beginning. Now you're performing regulation drill here. Everybody can do this. Okay, that works. That works well. However, it's still at port. So this is almost a delta type move. Delta from my exhibition drill book. Almost, it's kind of a modified delta, and that's fine. That works well. But you're carrying your rifles at port the whole time. So there needs to be something there, or don't march armed. So now, again, this move wouldn't look as good to your audience. See, remember your audience is where the head judge is. So they wouldn't be able to see this because these two squads over here are blocking everything that's going on. Not only what's going on, but they can't see the gap here, and they can't see that the and I know the audience is right here. I get that, but you still need to pick a direction and always perform to that direction. Consistency. So you never know where you're going to march. And this looks like it was probably inside, maybe because of weather, or maybe because this just happened to be one of the open places at the school. So your audience cannot see how this could be an effective move, positioning. I was hoping you were going to do that, marching together at an angle. And oh man, that's fantastic! I'm glad the camera was able to catch this, but again, totally lost on your intended audience direction. But nicely done there. Little bit of an alignment issue there, and now you have some rifle work. And even when you marched in, and so angles here, inconsistent angles, But even when you marched in simple rifle movement, wow, was it effective. Here, simple rifle movement, and it's continuously effective. What you did earlier, not as effective. And Commander, you standing out in front, doing the same movement, not as effective. Not as effective at all. It's like standing out in front of your regulation, in front of your regulation platoon, and calling present arms, and then you saluting the platoon back. It doesn't work. You're taking them through their movements. You don't do anything. You're just there to call commands. Well, here, you're not supposed to be the commander necessarily. You should be part of the team, and facing the team doesn't really communicate well with the audience. Facing the team doing the same thing. Great flank move there. And again, simple rifle movement. And Commander, you should be turned around and doing the same thing. This would be great. Uniform, and the uniform visual of the entire team, not just the team and the commander, but the whole team. Much better. And see, simple rifle movement, but effective. And I really appreciate the, well, you either have 3 or 4 squads. Count your steps. And it doesn't matter which way you march. It doesn't matter where the commander is. And you didn't have to do that. The pause and then the bang bang with the 2 heel slams, it's not necessary. It interrupts your flow of movement. It interrupts that momentum that you have. Well done, everybody. Some of this work is very unique and communicates very well with the audience. Good job. Commander, you could have. I get the ripple line. That's great, Commander. You should have put yourself right in the center of it. You could have integrated yourself in, because you doing the moves, it's very odd. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work well. And I know that teams all across the country do this consistently, but it doesn't work. It really doesn't work well at all. Integrating yourself, because you have the rifle, integrating yourself at times into the team works perfectly. Now, if you were armed with, say, a sword or saber, then it would be different. But you're not. You are a team member. And you see, you're not part of the ripple, but you're making yourself part of the ripple. So it's confusing. You're facing the other direction. You're performing the movements at a different time. And this is great stuff. It really is. And it could be so much more effective if you were in the line. Well done on creating that circle. Good job. Good job. Now, it would have been good to then perform into the circle instead of just march into the circle. Kind of like, now it's different because you were uniformly marching, but it was non-standard. in the formation. You know, marching in and then coming around and making the circle. But it's similar to the flank movement that you did before. It's, you know, everybody does that. This is a little bit different because of that non-standard formation, but that had you integrated some kind of just simple rifle work in there, could have been much more effective. That was really well done. Now, if you're going to do the butt slams, I would suggest that you nice. I'm gonna back that up just, and I really wanna watch that again. If you're going to do the butt slams as signals, and even the foot slams, heel slams, then I would say make it different. Make it different throughout the performance. Give yourself some variation. All right, so sorry, I've got other stuff happening here. Okay, so let me go back. I really want to go back and see this. Oh, I want to go back even more. There we go. All right, so this, if you've ever seen the silent drill platoon, you'll notice that sometimes they incorporate a scatter drill. And I like that order of coming out and then and slamming that rifle in. That worked well. Not completely uniform throughout, but it did work. The scatter drill. All right. So the scatter drill works. It works very well, and they usually do it to the bomb burst. They either have a single or a double bomb burst, which is the two rings, the single or double rings. And the scatter drill incorporates rifle work. So again, marching just to your position isn't really performing. It is performing, but it's at a very low level of performance. So here, you have multiple layered performance here, and then you're marching at port, and then you have multiple layered performance. And multiple layers, I mean that you are not only marching, but you're manipulating a rifle, and the rifle may leave your hands. And not only does the rifle possibly leave your hands, but you have to stay in line, and you have to stay in step, and you have to stay in time. You know, all these layered responsibilities all at the same time. And this creates tension, and that's good tension with the audience. So then you have a release of the performance, like after the march forward and the wedge and the report in. The release is everybody goes, "Yeah, man, that's fantastic, wonderful, great." So tension, release, and that's good throughout the performance. Here, you don't you're building up tension, but you have a because you're stopping here, you're stopping there, you're stopping here, you're stopping there. Not everybody stops at the same time for the report out, but also the march around the scatter drill, I guess you could say. The scatter drill really isn't as effective as it could be with maybe some simple rifle work. So everybody really needs to finish here at the same time. You have a couple of different butt slams here. You have standing, and you have kneeling. Different positions, but even the standing, this section in here, they finish very early. They finish next, and then I think it's these in the back finish last. So they toss higher. I see. So butt slam here and then butt slam here. I get it. So what you really need to do is work out butt slams at the same time and then end at the same time. Or don't have the ones in the back execute the butt slam, just have them execute it. But having everybody end at the same time is going to be that much more effective, that much more of a, oh, what are they going to do? Oh, yeah, that's great. Instead of a, oh, yeah, okay, that was good. So you want, yeah, that was great. And instead of, yeah, that was good. Okay, I can appreciate that. Now, obviously, your audience is just going to love you, and they should. So if I were looking from the front, I would probably want to see, and obviously I can't tell, I would want to see the difference here. And actually, I'd probably make all three of them doing the same thing. And then these cadets here, I would make, I would have these two off, farther off to the left, these two farther off to the right, and then move these up much closer to the center. And have, you could, there's so many ideas that you could do. You could have these two here pointing, can you see? Yeah. There I am. Pointing the rifles up so that the rifles are either pointing, the barrels are either pointing at each other or crossed. Pointing at each other, it actually looks pretty good. And then have this cadet here back in the center, but spread out really creates that grandeur of the report out position. Having depth is good, and you've layered your depth here again, but you have kneeled cadets in the front, but then you have standing cadets, and they're standing, and the cadets up here, if you didn't have the three in the back, it wouldn't matter, honestly, because you can't see them in the back if you're standing at the audience's position where the head judge is. So you need to make sure that you can have depth, and you have to have that layered effect for the depth in order to have everybody seen. But if you don't want the completely layered, having kneeling, semi-kneeling, and then standing, then if you don't want to work that out, then you need to have width. And having width is really impressive, really powerful. Oh no, I clicked in the wrong place. All right, here we go. Oh, you're just going to march off? All right. Okay, good. You have a chant and you have some rifle work, but honestly, you know what I suggest to you? Have them back away. Have everybody stand up, but have them back away, and then the front can turn around and move in. The next turn around and move in. The next, and you have that ripple effect. A little bit of confusion, but then that heightened tension, and then a release. And the release could come about in the formation of this final two really long squads. So it's just an idea off the top of my head, but marching at port, doing nothing else, it's not really as effective, and you're creating a curtain call really right here, which is great. I'm glad, but you want to keep that performance level as high as possible for as long as possible, and not bring it back down to a regulation drill level. But and what I mean by curtain call is your audience then is just, yay, come back and do it again. That's the curtain call. Come back, take a bow at least. And this is, and you get to march straight out. That's great. That really works well. But honestly then, marching out, there we go. Oh yeah. Marching out like this, you really could have done something very effective to still perform out. You don't want to march to a certain point, perform, march to a certain point, perform. You want to perform to a certain point and perform to a certain point and perform. So it's a constant level of performance. All right, well, holy cow, how long is this? You're welcome. 40 minutes for a 7-minute and 40-second performance. I talk for 40 minutes. So, and most everybody shuts this off at about 3 minutes. But if you've made it this far, well done. You're putting up with me talking a lot, but also I hope that you're able to learn something from. I don't do this just because I enjoy it. I do this because I really want to educate as many people as possible. And as I always write, as I always say, education is key, and we can all raise the level of performance across the board by that education. So I hope my comments have been helpful. Thank you very much. And again, I apologize for not getting all of the information about the school and when this performance was. All right. As a last note, this is the file number. I had to, because of the troubles that I was experiencing before, I actually had to upload it to my YouTube channel just to play it, just to get it recorded so that it would work well. So, yeah, it was a bit difficult. All right. So, that's it. Thank you.